Small towns have two speeds, quiet and suspiciously quiet. Circleville, Ohio, 1976. The kind of place where everyone waves at you on the street and then whispers the second you turn the corner. But that year, those whispers turned into letters. No return address, no fingerprints, just blocky black handwriting and words sharp enough to cut through the peace of a small town. They knew everything: where you worked, when you left, who you saw after dark. Someone in Circleville was watching. So tonight, we're looking at the speculations, the false accusations, and the truth that still hides behind thousands of letters. So grab a light and let's step into the dark together. In 1976, a woman named Mary Gillespie lived in Circleville, Ohio, a small blue-collar town where not much really ever happened. Mary worked as a school bus driver. She was married, had kids, and lived a somewhat normal life. Until one day, she came home and found a letter in her mailbox. It had no return address, and it was postmarked from Columbus, which is about 30 miles away from where she was. The handwriting was in all caps, thick, black marker, and the message was short, but it was terrifying. It said someone knew she was having an affair with the school superintendent, Gordon Massey. It said they were watching her house, they knew she had children, and if she didn't stop the affair, bad things would happen. Mary was terrified. She didn't know who sent it and how they knew so much about her life, so she ignored it, hoping it would stop. But it didn't. The next week, another letter showed up. This one was worse, angrier, and it stated, "We are not joking." And not long after that, her husband Ron got a letter of his own. A week later, another letter showed up, but this one wasn't for Mary. It was addressed to her husband, Ron Gillespie. And just like before, no return address, and was postmarked from Columbus, Ohio. The letter told Ron that his wife was having an affair, and warned him to make her stop and come clean about it, or his life would be in danger. Ron was stunned. He hadn't suspected anything from Mary. He showed Mary the letters, and, of course, she swore up and down it wasn't true. Ron believed her. He figured it was some cruel prank, and that ignoring it would make it stop. But it didn't stop. On the night of August 19th, 1977, Ron was home with his kids when the phone rang. He answered, and whatever he heard made him furious. His kids later said that his entire demeanor changed. Ron hung up, grabbed his pistol, and stormed out of the house. He told his kids he was going to confront the person writing the letters. He got in his truck and drove off into the night. Minutes later, his truck was found, crashed into a tree. Ron was dead, and his pistol had been fired once, and the bullet was never found. Police said it was an accident, said he'd been drinking, but his kids swore that he never drank at all. And that's when people in Circleville started to realize whoever was writing those letters really wasn't bluffing. After Ron's death, the letters didn't stop. They multiplied. Dozens of people across Circleville started finding them in their mailboxes: teachers, cops, business owners, even the local pastor. Every envelope had the same cold black handwriting, and every one of them came from Columbus, Ohio. The letters accused people of affairs, corruption, crimes, things that hit way too close to home. Some letters even accused the sheriff of covering up Ron's death. Whoever was behind this wasn't just watching Mary anymore. They were watching everyone. People started whispering names behind closed doors. Husbands accused wives, friends turned on each other. Mailboxes became a threat, and silence became safer than the truth. By the early 1980s, Circleville was not the quiet little town it used to be. Fear had settled in like fog, thick and heavy and everywhere. Everyone had a theory. It's a jealous ex. It's someone from the school. It's a cop. But nobody had proof, and nobody could explain how the writer always seemed to know exactly what was going on behind closed doors. In a town of 10,000 people, everyone started wondering the same thing. Is it my neighbor? Is it my coworker? Or the person that waves at me every morning? Circleville wasn't just being watched anymore. It was eating itself alive. By 1983, the letters had been coming in for years. Mary Gillespie had gone from scared to angry to completely exhausted. Her husband was gone, her name was still being dragged through the dirt, and whoever was behind this just wasn't stopping. On her daily bus route, she started seeing signs, stapled to telephone poles, handwritten messages calling her names and accusing her of sleeping with the school superintendent. Then one morning, she saw a new one, and it mentioned her daughter by name. That was it. Mary pulled the bus over, stormed up to the sign, and tore it down. But when she looked closer, she realized something was attached to the back of it, a small box. Inside was a loaded .25 caliber pistol, rigged with a string and a trigger like it was a booby trap. If she'd pulled the sign from a different angle, she'd be dead. The police arrived and disarmed it. When they traced the gun's serial number, it led straight back to a man named Paul Freshour, Mary's former brother-in-law, and that discovery was about to blow this whole story wide open. Detectives showed up at Paul Freshour's house a few days later. He didn't argue or panic. He told them the same thing over and over again. Yeah, the gun's mine, but it was stolen weeks ago. Investigators searched his home anyway, and that's when they found something odd. A pile of letters and scribbled notes written in the same thick, blocky handwriting that had been haunting Circleville for years. To police, these looked like practice notes. To Paul, it looked like a setup. He took a voluntary handwriting test, confident it would clear him. Instead, the results came back as a match. No fingerprints, no DNA, and no proof he ever built that trap. But in 1983, a jury found Paul Freshour guilty of attempted murder and sentenced him to 7 to 25 years in prison. The sheriff said the town could finally sleep again, but Circleville was about to find out that the letters weren't done yet. Paul Freshour went to prison. Solitary confinement. No visitors, no access to mail. The town finally exhaled, assuming the nightmare was over. But then, the letters started again. Same handwriting, same black ink, same postmark, Columbus, Ohio. Some were sent to police, some were sent to reporters, and a few were even sent directly to Paul himself, inside the prison walls. The warden swore Paul had no way of writing them. His mail was monitored, and he didn't have access to pens or paper. Yet, the letters kept coming. They mocked investigators, taunted the sheriff, and blamed the town for locking up the wrong man. One read, "You are lying to yourself if you think I'm gone." If Paul wasn't the writer, then the real one was still out there, and still watching. For years, the letters kept coming, even while Paul Freshour sat in a cell, and with every new letter, it became harder and harder to believe that the real writer was behind bars. Then, one letter took it further. It was addressed to Paul himself, written in the same block letters, and it said, "We are keeping you in prison as long as we can." It mocked him for losing his freedom. It even hinted there were more traps out there to be found. By the early 1990s, the story had grown too strange to ignore. In 1993, the TV show Unsolved Mysteries picked it up, and before filming even began, the producer received their own letter, postmarked from Columbus, Ohio. No return address, same handwriting, and it read, Forget Circleville. If you come here, you will be sorry. They aired the episode anyway, but no one ever came forward, no one confessed, and the letters, they finally stopped. Paul Freshour was paroled in 1994, and for the rest of his life he swore he wasn't the writer, and he never changed that story. So if it wasn't him, who was it? Over the years, a few names have been tossed around, each one stranger than the last. Theory 1. Paul actually was the writer, smart enough to plan ahead, and manipulative enough to make it look like someone else took over after. Possible? Sure, but the prison mail logs and timing of the letters do make that hard to swallow. Theory 2. Paul was framed. According to a journalist, Martin Yant, there was another witness, a bus driver who saw a yellow El Camino parked near where the booby trap was found. The man standing next to it didn't look like Paul. That description matched Paul's ex-wife's new boyfriend, whose family just happened to own a yellow El Camino. That lead was for some reason never followed up. Theory 3. There wasn't just one writer. Some believe the letters started with one person and others joined in, using the chaos to settle grudges and watch the town burn. And the last theory, maybe the simplest and maybe the creepiest, that the writer was just someone in Circleville. Someone who blended back into the town once the fear died down. Someone still living there today. Today, the Circleville letters sit away in police evidence. Hundreds of them. No fingerprints, no DNA, no confession. Paul Freshour died in 2012. He's left still claiming that he was innocent, but I guess we'll never know. The sheriff, who swore that he had solved the case, is gone too. The houses have changed, and the town's a lot quieter now. But the mystery? It's still there, sealed in old envelopes that once made a small town in Ohio turn on itself. Maybe it was one person, maybe it was several, or maybe it was something uglier. So next time you check your mail, just remember, not every letter comes from the post office. Thank you guys for exploring this with me. This was a crazy, cool thing, and I thought it would be a perfect first video for the channel. It's got a lot of mystery, a lot of unknowns, and a lot of just chaos all put together. If you guys have any kind of certain thing you want me to look at, anything you want me to dive into, leave a comment down below, let me know, and I would love to look at the things that you guys want to hear about. So, until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and stay spooky.